When Germany unified in 1871, Britain was already the industrial giant of the world. London was the center of finance. British factories were exporting goods across the globe. The seas were ruled by Britain. In short, the game had already started, and Germany was late. On top of that, Germany was not even a unified nation. It was a fragmented collection of princely states, politically divided and overshadowed in the European balance of power. No one expected such a divided land to become one of Europe's economic giants within just a few decades. But that is exactly what happened. In only 30 years, Germany became one of the strongest industrial powers in Europe, dominating in steel, chemicals, engineering, and heavy industry. It emerged as a real rival to Britain. So how did it happen? How did a politically fragmented nation, one that unified late, rise so quickly? This success cannot be explained by coal alone. It cannot be explained by factories alone. Germany's rise was the result of geography, discipline, education, economic reform, and state planning coming together at the perfect moment. Germany did not simply industrialize. Germany systematically built power, and the foundations of that power were laid long before unification. Sometimes the fate of a nation is determined by geography, and for Germany, this story begins there. Located in the very heart of Europe, the German lands sat at the crossroads of the continent's trade routes. Trade flowing from east to west and from north to south passed through this region. That alone was a major advantage. But Germany's greatest strength lay beneath its soil. The Ruhr Valley contained some of the largest coal reserves in Europe. Coal was the fuel of the Industrial Revolution. Steam engines ran on coal. Steel production expanded through coal. Railroads spread because of coal, and Germany had plenty of it. It was not just coal. Germany also had rich iron ore deposits. These two resources formed the backbone of heavy industry. In other words, Germany naturally possessed the raw materials required for industrialization. And when we add major transportation routes like the Rhine River, the picture becomes even clearer. The Rhine made it possible to move raw materials, minerals, and industrial goods at low cost. That lowered production costs. It accelerated trade. It encouraged industrial investment. Germany's geography gave it an enormous starting advantage. But history teaches us something important. Having resources alone does not guarantee success. Many countries have had rich mineral wealth and still remained weak. So the real issue was not simply resources. The real issue was organization. And that is what made Germany different. This is where Prussia enters the story. At the beginning of the 19th century, what we called Germany was not one country. It was a patchwork of dozens of independent German states, different laws, different taxes, different governments, politically and economically fragmented. But within that fragmented system, one power was rising: Prussia. Prussia stood out not only because of its army, but because of its state structure. Its education system was one of the most advanced of the era. And this system did more than teach literacy. It taught discipline. It taught order. It taught efficiency. It trained people to function within a highly organized state. That created a huge advantage for industrialization, because industrialization is not just about building factories. Industry needs engineers. It needs technicians. It needs disciplined workers. And Prussia was producing exactly that. Its education system created skilled labor. Its bureaucracy became more efficient. The state apparatus became stronger. Taxes were collected more effectively. Infrastructure projects were planned better. Industrial expansion was managed in an organized way. So, while coal powered Germany's factories, Prussian discipline powered the system behind them, and that discipline became the hidden engine of Germany's economic rise. But there was still a major problem. Germany had resources. Germany had discipline. But it did not have a unified market. Moving goods from one German state to another often meant paying different tariffs. These customs barriers slowed trade, and they were a major obstacle to industrial growth. This is where the move that changed Germany's future appeared, the Zollverein. Founded in 1834, the German customs union abolished internal tariffs between the German states. This created an economic revolution. Trade accelerated, costs fell, producers gained access to larger markets, capital moved more freely, investment increased, and most importantly, the German states began to unite economically. Political unity did not yet exist, but the economy was already becoming one system. This was a massive advantage, because economic unity laid the foundation for political unity. Germany united economically before it united politically, and that economic integration opened the path to industrial expansion. Without it, Germany's industrial miracle would not have happened. By 1871, Germany was finally politically unified. And this was not just a political event, it was the starting point of an economic explosion. Because now, Germany had a unified market, a unified state, and a unified economic direction. For the first time, all resources could be coordinated from one center. This is where real growth began. Railways expanded rapidly, new factories were built, steel production surged, coal production exploded. Banks poured capital into industry. The state protected and supported industrial expansion. Industrial giants like Krupp grew rapidly. Siemens rose as a technological powerhouse. BASF became a giant in chemicals. Germany quickly turned into one of Europe's industrial centers. Britain had industrialized earlier. But Germany industrialized smarter. It grew in a more modern way. It grew in a more organized way. It grew more efficiently. Britain had started the Industrial Revolution. Germany optimized it. And that is why Germany became a real rival to Britain in such a short period of time. This rise was not accidental. It was the result of resources, education, discipline, and state planning working together. By 1900, Germany was no longer just a unified country. It had become one of Europe's industrial giants. It had caught up with Britain in steel production. It was a leader in chemicals. It had become one of the world's strongest centers of science and engineering. Only a few decades earlier, Germany had been a collection of fragmented states. Now, it had become an industrial empire capable of reshaping the balance of power in Europe. And this rise was not built on coal alone. It was not built on iron alone. The real strength was in the system that organized those resources, in discipline, in education, in institutions, in long-term planning. Germany's rise teaches us something important. Natural resources are only the beginning. Great powers are not built by resources alone. They are built by systems. And in the 19th century, Germany mastered that better than almost anyone else. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this look into Germany's rise to industrial power, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more videos like this. And if there's another empire, nation, or historical transformation you'd like to explore next, let me know in the comments. I'll see you in the next one.